Awesome, we did it. Let's, oh, and we ranked up. Hey, look at us go. What's going on, guys? If you want to support our content and pick up this month's amazing Patreon rewards, you can do so at patreon.com/itresolves. If you're interested in custom playmats and sleeves, visit YourPlaymat.com and use code ITRESOLVES10YP for 10% off your entire purchase. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to some more standard gameplay. Before we jump into today's deck, just a quick reminder, if you're not already, please subscribe. It really would mean a lot to us. Any and all support is really appreciated, especially for us small-time YouTube channels. Anything, like just a like, means a lot. So please do take the time to do that if you enjoy the video. But today we're playing Mono Red Goblins. We've been playing a couple control decks since we've gotten back from our little hiatus. But we haven't actually delved into goblins. Now, we've seen a lot of goblins. Hobgoblin is one of, I think, just the best cards, the best aggro cards that we've seen recently. A 2/3 for 3, other goblins you control get +1/+1, but you can also pay a red and tap it, and it deals damage equal to the number of goblins that entered the battlefield under your control this turn, to any target. Not just a player, not just a creature, not just a planeswalker, it can be anything. Which is kind of ridiculous if you think about it, because you could have quite a number of goblins enter the battlefield during your turn. So truthfully, this deck is pretty straightforward other than the Hobgoblin and maybe the Trashmaster here. Another Lord allows you to sacrifice a goblin and destroy an artifact, which is very helpful for tech and things like that. But most of the deck is pretty straightforward. In the 1-drop slot, we've got Fireblade Charger, just a nice little 1/1 that can get in there for some damage. Frostbite for some removal. Goblin Javelineer, again, gets in for some damage pretty quickly. We do have Shock as a full 4 here. This is going to help us clear the board or deal those extra last few points of damage as needed. In the 2-drop slot, we've got Battle Cry Goblin, a 2/2 for 2, but you can tap 1 and a red, and goblins you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until the end of the turn. So obviously a very, very powerful card for this list. It also has pack tactics. So whenever it attacks, if you attacked with creatures total power 6 or greater this combat, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. So this is going to be able to pump up and basically throw out more goblins to the board. Hobgoblin Captain, pack tactics, again, it's a 3/1 for 2 this time though. Whenever it attacks, if you've got total power 6 or greater, it gains first strike until the end of the turn, so really incentivizing you to attack in a lot more. Hopefully going to be able to trade up if need be with that first strike. We do have a 1 of Relic Robber here. This is just a nice way to kind of get some passive damage. If you can get this over dealing some damage to the opponent, that just means they're gonna have to take some damage every turn unless they can remove their own creature, which is never something that you feel good about doing unless you're playing sweepers or something like that. You see a Pair of Goblins. This is just a great way to fill the board. Again, in tandem with Hobgoblin, it's very, very good to throw out a couple 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. Now, you can charge them instead of befriend them, which says creatures you control get +2/+0 until the end of the turn. And what that allows you to do is if you've already basically got lethal on board, you can just kind of get those last few points in there as needed and hopefully finish the game pretty quickly. Already talked about Hobgoblin. We do have Hulking Bugbear. This is just a 3/3 for 3 with haste. It's like very straightforward. It's a goblin. It's good for the deck. Like, you don't need too much craziness, shenanigans, or anything like that. We're just trying to play a bunch of goblins, get as much power out as quickly as possible, and finish the game, and this helps us do that. We did talk Goblin Trashmaster, just a 1 of in this list, but the reason being it's a little high costed for the deck. We're trying to stick 3 and below. This is 4, but it's very, very powerful. Of course, that Lord effect is always going to be good. We do have Faceless Haven, as well as Den of the Bugbear here. These are both really, really good options to be able to finish off the game. And, you know, added bonus, Den of the Bugbear is a goblin when you activate it, so it does get a lot of the Lord effects as well. So let's jump into some games, guys. This is going to be a stark difference from the control games that we've been doing the last couple days, so I'm very interested to see how this goes. I have not played the Goblins list yet. I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest. So I'm trying to do this as a bit of a convincing maneuver for me. We're going to see if we can enjoy the deck and have a good time with it. So let's jump into game 1. All right, guys, here we are for game number 1. And yeah, I mean, truthfully, this is a perfectly fine hand. We've got some interaction. We've got a 1 into 2 drop here. So I'm very, very happy keeping this. Not a super overly aggressive hand, but that Battle Cry Goblin really, well, and there we go. That solves the problem. That Battle Cry Goblin really, really helps out. And being able to hasten up the rest of your turns. Now you do have to sink some mana into it, but in an aggro deck, something to always kind of keep in mind here. Aggro decks love mana sinks. Anytime you can get a little bit of extra stuff on board that allows you to push your mana into it, it's never going to be a bad thing. Now, we have some options here. I actually think we're just going to first things first attack in and see what they do. Chances are they're just going to take it. That's perfectly fine. Now, I think I'm going to Frostbite this. I'd like to get this off of the board before it becomes a problem, or just make them use a spell to protect it. They're going to return it to their hand. That is actually not the worst thing for us. It's not great, don't get me wrong, but the reason I feel okay doing this is because we do have the backup play of the Fireblade Charger here, so we're still able to kind of push through and get more development on board here. Now, obviously, the Battle Cry Goblin would have been the ideal creature to drop, but I don't particularly want to lose out to the clever Lumamancer. Lumamancer, that's a hard word to say. This is a very, very good card, in my opinion. And it can build up very quickly, so we do have to be quite careful. Delver of Secrets, very interesting. Okay. An Azorius Delver deck. I don't believe I have seen anything like this like this before. So I'm very interested. Let's throw out that Battle Cry and let's attack in. There's no reason not to here. These are most likely not going to be blocking anytime soon. And so truth be told, we just kind of need to push things forward. They've got a Fading Hope in hand that allows them to transform that Delver. That's scary. That's very scary. I think they're going to be able to outpace us here, is my guess. Now, worth noting, though, they don't, at least at the moment, have a lot of card draw available to them. In particular, they've only got 1 blue mana. They did scry to the bottom there, which is a good sign. And they haven't drawn any extra cards this game. And it's turn 3 going into 4. So we do have some positive there, and that they may just not have a ton. Let's go ahead and throw this out. This is going to power up our board here, of course. Now they might have some kind of spell to throw at us here. They did leave up 2 white mana, so that is a little bit worrisome, but we'll see what they've got. Let's go ahead and attack in here. There's, again, no real reason not to. We can't block the Delver, and most likely we're not going to want to block the Lumamancer. This is going to be something that will probably just eat a creature any given time that we have to block with it. So it is what it is, but we do have the Faceless Haven down, which represents 4 damage. I mean, that's pretty solid. And I question the balance of this deck. I think that's my only concern with this kind of Azorius version of the list. Sure. And maybe it's fine. I could be very wrong here, but you know, you've got the Delver of Secrets, which is a great card. You've also got the Lumamancer, another great card. The Monk of the Open Hand's very awesome, but it works much better, in my opinion, in like a spread the board out kind of deck. Maybe that's just not needed, I don't know, but just kind of an interesting layout here. So let's do this. Let's drop that Trashmaster. Again, just pushing through as much as we can here. I'm not going to worry about blocking for the most part. Now, if I have to block with that Trashmaster, I got to do what I got to do here, but very curious to see how this actually plays out. The good news is these are all like pretty easy attacks here. Now most of them will trade, well, all of them would trade with the Monk of the Open Hand. But if they wanted to block or lose that, then that's fine by me, because it's less aggression that we have to worry about. Let's see what they got. Little worried because this is probably going to be the turn we might die. And truth be told, it doesn't take much now for them to be able to kill us. They just need 1 more spell. Yeah. So that's death for us, unfortunately. Would have potentially been worthwhile to leave up a couple of extra creatures here, but again, I was trying to get them within lethal range. It is what it is. That's fine. Let's go ahead. Let's jump into game 2. All right, guys, here we are for game number 2. And this is a very, very interactive hand, but I do think it's one that we can keep. We're gonna do the best we can with it. We do only have 1 red mana, which is a little bit concerning. We do kind of want to get a couple extra red mana here so we can kind of double up on some spells, but we'll see what we can do. I have high hopes. Let's drop this. I'm just gonna throw out the Hobgoblin Captain here. They're gonna consider, sure, that's perfectly fine. They've got the cryptic command sleeves here, so I'm very concerned that they're just gonna have a million kill spells for us, but it is what it is. We can't do too much about that. A little bit unfortunate there, we didn't get anything too crazy, but I think we just go ahead and throw out the Battle Cry Goblin here. Let's maximize what we've got on board. Keeping in mind that this could very well be a Leer deck. If you didn't watch us play Leer yesterday, it looks like potentially a Esper version too. That's kind of sick. If you didn't watch us play that deck yesterday, it's a very interesting list. One that is looking to take over the game long term, so we do have to keep that in mind. And might be a little concerning here at some point, but unfortunately no land. I'm just going to throw out the Javelineer. Chances are this either gets countered or killed. Something is going to get killed, sure. Man, still no red mana. This is very unfortunate for us, but again, we can't do too much about it. We just have to keep stabbing him for some attacks here. Hope it goes well. If we do get a red mana, that Hobgoblin would be really, really nice. Perfect. Yeah, I'm going to just try it. Chances are they've got some kind of spells here to kill some stuff, but it looks like maybe not. Now, they're going to kill us at some point. There's a sweeper. Yep. That's fine-ish. It's not the end of the world because we've got other options. So let's go ahead and play the Bugbear. Might be countered here. Okay. Sure. That's, again, not the end of the world for us. It is very annoying, don't get me wrong, but it's not the end of the world. Let's actually play the Hobgoblin. Again, probably going to get countered. If I had to guess. Memory Deluge. Okay, fine. Also, guys, if you hear landscaping in the background, our little townhome community is having some landscaping done today, so there's like a weed eater just going crazy outside right now, so I do apologize. That might make Lou bark as well, but it's all good. All right, let's throw this out. Chances are we're not going to get these last 9 points of damage. Like, not to be pessimistic, but given that they have drawn so many cards at this point, with the Memory Deluge, the Consider, things like that, there's very little I think we'd be able to do against them if they just sweep again, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, there we go. It's going to be challenging. I mean, we can't really do too much about it, and they're going to have plenty of options here. So we just kind of have to keep going for it and hope stuff sticks. Chances are not going to happen. And again, they've just got so many answers in that. In a Esper control list like this, there's always going to be answers. Now, something to keep in mind, they do have this available to them, so we do have to be very cautious of that. I think we do just attack in here, though. I'm leaving up the burn spells, because I do think that we just kind of have to. Sure. I think... Let's go ahead and see if we can frostbite it. They might have a counter for this. I kind of hope they do. Yeah, let's burn their counters. Let's do it. Let's frostbite again. Okay, this is a heck of a trade-off. We're just kind of going back and forth here, but I actually think that works out okay. We've burned 2 spells out of their hand here, and all we had to do was frostbite a land. Which Frostbite really wasn't going to do a ton against them anyway, so it's kind of nice to be able to throw that out. I actually think we pass here. If they do have another kill spell, they'll use it on that Charger. If they had like a sweeper, they might try and use it. I doubt it, but we can, because this just has haste, we can just throw this out now, and that's fine. There's the Memory Deluge, of course. That makes sense. Might have been more worth it just to attack with the Faceless Haven. I kind of want to build things up because that does give us higher value draws. So like if we draw a Hobgoblin as an example, the more of the Goblin cards we have out, the higher value that Hobgoblin becomes because we're able to deal a lot more damage with it long term. Whereas if we just attack with the Faceless Haven, that's not necessarily the case. We're not going to be able to, I mean, it deals 4 damage, so 4 damage is quite a bit, don't get me wrong, but we're kind of taking that trade-off, and I don't know if that's the correct trade-off, I'll be honest. Given that they had activated the Memory Deluge after the fact, I wish I had attacked with the Faceless Haven, I think, but that's okay. We'll do our best. We did get him down to 8, that's surprising. Okay. So we're going to take a little bit of damage here thanks to this, which is, I mean, helpful. And we do have the shocks, so we're not far off. That's kind of the trick here, is we're not that far off. Can we just activate Faceless Haven and get the win? I doubt it, but we're gonna try. We have to try. Here's the counter, here's something. There's that, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Resolve that, can't do anything about it. Let's get the attack in. And they're gonna just replay that, sure. I'm gonna go ahead and shock him. I doubt that this is really gonna matter in the end, but any amount of damage that we can do. Wow, okay, they had Test of Talents. That was very, very solid by the opponent. Leaving that up allows them to pull every shock that they had, or that we had out of our hand, or excuse me, our deck, which is really, really helpful for them because now they just know they don't have to worry about it. They can see the rest of the deck if they want to. And so they know now that there's not a ton of burn that they have to worry about, which is worth them knowing, that's for sure. Okay. So let's do this. I think we're gonna do this, and we'll just attack in with both here. This just spreads out our board a little bit. Now they do get to kill the den, which is kind of frustrating, but it's not the end of the world here. I mean, technically we have lethal in our hand, but I'm assuming they're gonna kill some stuff here. Yep. We have to sacrifice a creature. We're obviously gonna sacrifice the token. There's a land. We're gonna try and play out this Bugbear. I doubt that it's gonna land. There's the counter. Yep. There's not a huge point in attacking Lily, so I'm just gonna attack them. We can't kill Lily with just the Javelineer, there's just no way. And there is the Desert Doom. Yep. I think that's gonna seal the deal then. That's my assumption. They also just have the Hall of the Storm Giants here, which can absolutely annihilate us. Yeah, that's game. Let's go ahead and concede, guys. Let's jump into a third game. Hopefully we can get one win with this. We'll see if we can do it. All right, guys, here we are for our third game. This might be our final game. We will see. This is a very interesting hand. I think it's one I'm gonna try and keep. It isn't overly aggressive. Like, we don't have a 1-drop that's gonna be able to just swing in here. Which isn't necessarily good, but we do have some very solid 2-drops, of course, and some very good 3-drops. So really, if we just get a land in the next handful of turns, we'll be okay. And even if we don't for a turn or two, we do have the Battle Cry Goblins that we can throw out there as well. So we'll see how this one goes. This might, like I said, be our last game. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see how long it goes. At the moment, opponent's kind of taking a moment. That's perfectly fine. All right. And we are, looks like, against a life gain deck. That's going to be a very frustrating one to fight against, but we'll do the best we can. That Fireblade Charger is a pretty solid draw here because it's going to allow us to hopefully get an attack in early and kind of keep pushing through some damage here. There is the land as well. Look at this. Let's go ahead and attack in first. We'll play out that Battle Cry Goblin. I'm not going to leave up Shock at the expense of developing our board. I don't think that this is the time or place to do that. I think in a Goblin deck, you just want to build out the board as best you can. We also, because of that Hobgoblin, I mean, we want to throw these things out here as best we can. And truthfully, the Relic Robber might not be a bad play this upcoming turn, since they are not doing anything. I mean, there's nothing that they can do. They're going to gain some life here, but there's nothing that they can really play here. Which is great because it just means that we might be able to kind of permanently deal some damage to them, which I think I'm going to go for. This may not be 100% correct, I don't know, but having that Relic Robber token on their side of the field at this point is pretty awesome. Now they can, if they would like, it does have to be an angel, excuse me, so they can't do that. Perfect. Field of Ruin, not really going to be helpful. We do have to keep in mind that eventually they will get the combo with the Book of Exalted Deeds. That's a very frustrating combo to deal with, but it's one that we should be able to get around. All right, so what do we want to do? I mean, we've got options. We can actually just double up and kill this Righteous Valkyrie, which I do think I'm going to just take the opportunity to do. I know this isn't necessarily like the right quote-unquote play, but that Righteous Valkyrie is always going to be a problem. And at this point now we can just keep attacking in. We get an extra little token. And what this really does for us is open up the Hobgoblin play next turn to allow us to basically just attack in with everything and hopefully win. We also just have the Battle Cry Goblin, so even if that play doesn't work out, we can just pump the board with this and hopefully get there. So we'll see. Yeah, it looks like we might outpace them here, which would be great. Perfect. And another Hobgoblin. That's really nice. All right, so we're obviously just going to attack in here, and this should be enough to secure the win. There we go. Well, that was very quick. I think we're going to do one more game. That worked out really, really well. That was about as ideal as possible. I was a little worried about the life game, but we did it. Let's jump into a fourth game. Let's see how it goes. All right, guys, here we are for our fourth game. Now, this will be our final game, but this is a pretty easy keep. I mean, it's a very aggressive hand, which I like, because we're a Goblin deck. So we're going to give this one a shot. We'll see how we can do with it. We've got double Goblin Javelineer plus double Battle Cry Goblin. And then, of course, the Bugbear later on if we can get there. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Interested to see what we'll be up against here. Guys, I just want to say, you know, it's been a couple weeks since we've been regularly putting out gameplay. We're still getting back into the swing of things, but it's great to be back. It's really, really good to be back. I missed you guys. I missed making these videos. I would like to get back to having like 2 a day during the week at the very least, because it's fun. I mean, it's really fun to be able to put these videos out for you guys. There's also Crimson Vow stuff coming out very soon, and we've gotten a lot of spoilers for that, so there's a lot to talk about there. And so I do want to hopefully have some opportunities to push some of that in the near future. Now, how do we want to do this? I think we're going to go for the double 1-drop play. Maybe this isn't correct, I don't know, but we're going to try and push through as much as we can here. And we'll see what we can do. My dog might bark in a little bit. So let me ask you guys something. This is such a real life question. So if you own a home or live in a home, and you have hard water in your home, if you don't know what hard water means, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't, it's just like heavy mineral buildup in your water system. Like the water itself has quite a bit of minerals in it, and so it becomes hard water because there's a lot of stuff in there. We seem to have that problem where we live in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and it's a little frustrating because the pipes on our toilets, this is so silly and such a dumb problem to have, but they pop because of that mineral buildup getting in there and clogging it up, and then it'll pop out, and like there's like a whole thing there. Regardless though, what's really annoying is that our dog Luna is like deathly terrified of that popping noise, which is like fine because it doesn't happen all the time, but it's kind of annoying because she's scared. And so she barks a lot, and it's really like kind of silly, but it is what it is. I don't know if anybody else has that problem. Please let me know if you do. I'd be very curious to know. All right, we got him to 1. Can they deal 13 damage to us? Something tells me probably not, because they just spent all their mana on Owlbear. Which, look at this artwork. That's the silliest artwork I have ever seen. It's just a bear with an owl face. All right. Awesome, we did it. Let's, oh, and we ranked up. Hey, look at us go. Let's talk about this deck. All right, guys, Mono Red Gobbos, what do we think? Well, I'll be honest, my opinion hasn't changed that much. I feel like this is a fun, aggressive deck. It's fine, but it's still not my favorite. It doesn't play as well as a lot of other Mono Red lists, in my opinion, that we've seen in previous years or even months. But post-rotation, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that changed, and so we do have to compensate for that. And I think this is a decent way to do that. There's that pop again. She's going to start barking. But I still don't love it. It's not my favorite. I think it's easy to deal with in the right circumstances, but it always will be. It's a mono red list. You just sweep the board and theoretically you're fine. It does have a lot of nice little tech that you can do. The Hobgoblin we really didn't get to utilize as much, but the fact that it's just a Lord is obviously going to always be helpful. So I liked it enough that I would play it again. Do I like it a lot? No, not really. But that's okay. That's just my opinion. I'm also not a mono red player, and at heart, that's just not my style. And so it really doesn't speak to me that much. But if you are a mono red player and you love this deck, that is fantastic. Share your thoughts down below. Let me know what I missed. Let me know if there's something that we could add to the deck to make it a little more exciting. I know there were a few flex spots in this list, so I'd be very curious. But regardless, guys, I just want to say again, a huge thank you to everybody. Great to be jumping back into some gameplay videos, and I hope you guys enjoy them. Please make sure to subscribe and leave a like if you have not already, and I'll see you again very soon for some more gameplay videos.